All right, guys, what is up? We're doing a little grocery haul. We need to get a lot today. Fridge is looking pretty bare, so we're gonna stock up. You guys are in for a treat. Also, I have the microphone in the coffee cup. Feels like I'm on Impractical Jokers, but it's not like I'm even being discreet. I got like this whole like tripod set up in the shopping cart. You'd be surprised how hard it is to rig a tripod to a shopping cart, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, what we just grabbed was some kale. Kale is great. Spinach is great. That's usually what I go for in terms of my greens. So I'm gonna grab some spinach too. Also gonna grab some avocados. Not too many though, because my fat intake is usually pretty low. But when I do like to get my fats in, I like to get it with avocados. Avocados are very high in potassium, very high in fiber. But you know, just be aware that they're pretty high in calorie. Next up, I'm gonna go for my berries. Good rule of thumb is anything that ends in the word berry is going to be very healthy for you. So I'm getting blueberries, strawberries, blackberries. If I were to choose one, probably be strawberries. Strawberries are the least calorically dense fruit I think I've ever seen. You can just eat like a bunch of them for super low. Kiwis are also great. Very nutrient dense, very vitamin rich. Vitamin C, vitamin K. More vitamin C than an orange and more potassium than a banana. Extremely underrated fruit. Definitely tap into kiwis. Apples, I'm going to pass on. Apples are a little overrated, not very practical. I'm going to grab a couple bananas. We already have some at the crib, but it's good to grab the freshman bananas, right? So then when the other ones, you know, expire, I guess, some bananas are ready for you. One thing I forgot to mention about the strawberries too is that one downside to them is that the shelf life is pretty terrible. But again, you know, definitely worth getting. Next up, grabbing sweet potatoes, very nutrient dense. Healthier than regular potatoes, and they taste better. They go great in the air fryer. I have them all the time. They're very filling too, so I'm grabbing a couple of these. Onions I usually get too, but again, has them at the crib, so no, let's be frugal. All right, we're gonna start heading over to the meat section. This is where it gets good. How's it? I don't know if you guys saw that catch. I saw it falling at the corner of my eye. Next up, we're gonna grab some shrimp. Shrimp is super lean. One of the leanest protein sources out there. I get tuna too. I'm gonna go grab some tuna, but shrimp is great. What you want to get is cooked. Then you can just heat it up. But this is gonna be awesome. If you read what it says peeled and deveined. That's what you want. Trust me on that. That's what you want to go for. And usually you'll grab some salmon too, but it doesn't look like they have any. It's just kind of unfortunate, but we'll live. Let me get these chicken breasts too, because they're $5 each per package, and each package on here gets you like 70 grams of protein, so that's a pretty good deal. Plus I don't have to season it myself. I'm also going to get ground chicken, and I like ground meats a lot better, and the reason is because you can just open up the package and throw it in the pan. I feel like it's a lot more practical. And again, if you're tracking your macros too, all the macros are just like right here on the package, which I think is very convenient. You don't have to pull out a scale, you don't have to pull out a cutting board, you don't have to pull out a knife, know exactly what you're getting. All right, now we're looking at steaks. Now, usually I have a lower fat diet, but on your steaks, don't cheap out with the fat. That's the kind of fat you want. Tenderloin or sirloin is gonna be good. Ribeye is gonna be higher in fat, but again, these fats are good. So if you're going for a higher fat steak, don't feel ashamed. I'm gonna grab some pork chops too. Pork chops, always great bang for your buck when it comes to protein. 10 chops, $10. Each chop is like 20 grams of protein. It's a good deal. What I also like a lot, very underrated too, are these Simply potatoes. They're great in the air fryer, great in the pan. Talked about these a little bit in my last video, but if you have like French fry cravings, these are awesome because you're not going to get any fat, 0 grams of fat. Also very low in sodium and very high in potassium. So they're a lot of food for not a lot of calories. Now we're on to eggs. Don't need to explain too much here. Eggs are great. Don't cheap out on your eggs though. Grade A stuff. Also egg whites too. Egg whites are one of the only naturally occurring foods that'll have 0 grams of carbs, 0 grams of fat, and strictly protein. So if you're tracking your macros, you've been slacking, right, most of the day, you need to catch up on your protein, but you don't have a lot of calories left, egg whites is what you need. For milk, I like to go with the fat-free milk. To each their own, but again, I have a lower fat diet. And I'm telling you guys, go with the Fairlife. I'm not lactose intolerant, but I have problems when it's any other kind of milk. But with Fairlife, is never an issue. It's worth the extra money, guys, I'm telling you. You guys probably already know this stuff. Now, not a lot of people are fans of cottage cheese, right? But it's an acquired taste, and you guys should acquire it. Again, very low in fat. There's a few versions of them. You want to get the 2%. Where's the one I usually get? I think it's this one right here. Yeah, 90 calories, 13 grams of protein per serving. Pretty good ratio, guys. Goes great with any, meat you have. You can have it on the side. It can work as like a dipping sauce. Throw it on like your sandwiches. How you doing? Now we're gonna look at the bread. Everyone thinks that, you want to be jacked, you want to eat clean, you got to get rid of bread. You don't need to get rid of bread, guys. Nothing wrong with bread. You just got to get the right ones. So the one I usually get are these keto breads. These are good too. These Dave's Killer Bread. You from college? That's not what we're gonna do today. I have to go with these right here. Per bun, it's like 60 calories. Pretty low in carbs, and pretty high in protein. But I don't really care about the protein when it comes to my bread. I want to get my protein in with meats. I'm not looking for a huge protein punch when it comes to my bread. I just want to be sure it's cheap in calorie, and then get my protein in with the good stuff. How are you? It'll be quick. I'm almost done. I can record in here. They're just making shit up. Practical Jokers does this all the time. They don't get any hate. All right, vegetables. We'll get this in before we get thrown out. We're going to go with green beans. Green beans super low in calorie. Substitute for rice. I'm not a big rice guy, so I like to go with the green beans instead. Sweet peas too. Great plant protein. And again, good amount of protein for not a lot of calories. And easy to prep, just straight out of the can, you microwave it for a couple minutes, and then you're good to go. So sweet peas for me are a go-to. And, lower in calorie than like a lot of the beans out there. Now we're gonna look at our tuna. Everyone likes to hate on tuna. Ooh, it's like cat food. It's gross. Trust me, guys. Tuna is real great. You just have to grow up and deal with it. And again, super easy to prep. Straight out of the can. You can do a lot with tuna too. You can saute tuna. You can throw it on the stove. It's no biggie. It goes well with eggs. It goes well with a lot of stuff. You just gotta learn to love it. And I'm telling you, when you start to eat healthy, in the beginning, you might get grossed out a little bit. You'll acquire that taste real quick, I promise. All right, we're gonna go back to the produce section, grab a few more things, and then we'll be out of here. I'm also trying to run away from that lady so she doesn't kick me out. All right, we're gonna grab a few more vegetables. Let's see. We definitely need cucumbers. Cucumbers, people think are just like crunchy water. For the most part, it kind of is, but with cucumbers, they have a good amount of fiber and a good amount of micronutrients. So I think it's definitely worth it. We're also gonna grab some celery. Again, crunchy water, but little better. A great vitamin K. I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken there. And then we're gonna grab some carrots too, if I can find them. Then we're gonna grab these whole organic carrots. This is what you want to grab. All right, anyway, I'm gonna head over to check out before I get in trouble. If you guys have any questions, feel free to tap in the comments. I'll be answering all of them. Again, I didn't get to touch on everything because again, I have a little bit of grub at home, but for the most part, that's what my usual trip looks like. Appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Let me know what you guys usually get, or some sleepers out there that I should be looking for when it comes to grocery shopping. See you guys next time.